Hello chess fans, we're back with another CM training video against Ninja Turtles 22. So let's start with e4. I haven't done a CM training video in a while. e5, let's go for knight f3, knight c6, and I'm feeling like playing the Ruy Lopez, so we're going to get a Ruy Lopez here. And we see the Schliemann. Now I haven't studied the Schliemann in a long time, so I'm just going to go for the simple d3. Schliemann is a little bit of an aggressive response. Notice that if we take, I think after knight f6, there's just some problems. So takes the main line. Now they have bishop here or d6. So now this is not a move I know, and I'm trying to see if it makes a difference. So you would probably want to play here, just so that after bishop c5, I guess they claim that I no longer have access to knight c3. So I could go bishop d2, but then after takes, something like d6. It seems like they've solved their problems. So c3 here, I'm not so sure how useful c3 is. Maybe it prevents knight d4, which is possibly useful. Okay, let's go for c3. Bishop c5, and queen d3 is a move here. Basically just threatening bishop c4 after castles, but then they play d6. And I'm thinking takes here. I'm not sure what changes in the line with the inclusion of the move c3. For example, queen h4, queen f3 would be winning there. And if I guess it's d6, because if I take here, now I have access to this. Yeah, I'm going to take here. I don't believe that this is a good line. Maybe they go knight f6 here, just sack the pawn. I can castle and give the pawn back at worst case scenario. Knight f6 is definitely the move here. I could go knight d3 actually, attacking this. And if here I could take queen h5 and then pick up the knight, which is pretty nice. So if knight f6, knight d3, takes here, knight takes, and then queen h5 is a fork. So that's something important to think about. So queen e7. And now I was thinking, what was I thinking here? I was thinking of bishop f4. Knight f6 seems likely. I could also, no, I can't play knight back or anything. Bishop f4, knight f6. What if I didn't just castle? Because if knight takes here, maybe I play knight d3, threatening to take the bishop. Their pawn structure a little bit bad. Okay, let's go for this. Bishop d6 I don't think is such a problem. Is bishop d6 a problem? I always have to think about queen h5, but if after g6 I can't take here because they have here, so bishop f4, bishop d6 I don't think is a problem. Bishop f4, d6 I could take here, and then after queen here I could go for this one. Takes, bishop b7, and then I win on g7. So yeah, I think bishop f4 is solid. Here, worst case scenario, I have to go here, c5, and then queen d5, c6. Ooh, yeah, then I can defend. So if here, I guess I have to go here pretty much, and then queen e2, and we have to go for some sort of slightly better endgame. Knight f6 is also definitely a decent move here. I expect knight f6. I could go f3, but I'm worried about like d6, and then some d5. f3, knight h5 actually. But then here, takes. I don't have the bishop pair, so they definitely have full compensation for the pawn, which is not ideal. And I can't castle kingside either. So yeah, so knight f6. What am I gonna do? Maybe the simple queen d3? No, because that doesn't defend this pawn. I could go knight d2. Knight f6, knight d2, castles queen side, king side. Now I go knight d3, attacking the bishop. If pawn here, then I can go like, wait, maybe not. So knight f6. If f3, there's knight h5 ideas. Okay, bishop d6 is played. So now I was thinking knight d3, and I just go for the better endgame. I think knight f6 there was a better move. Yeah, so the better endgame seems to be to me the only option here. Queen h5, g6, is what's going to be played. Then I could go, no, I can't go queen d5, and I can't take here because takes here. So I have to go knight d3 here pretty much. Right. I don't think I have another option. And yeah, so I have to go knight d3. Queen takes e4, queen e2, and okay, I lost the pawn I was up, but okay, the Schliemann is tricky. We can look at this after the game. Definitely made a bad mistake somewhere, but at least I've got rid of the bishop here. I have a structural advantage. I mean, they do have this move like bishop a6 if they really want it. Okay. Queen e4. Let's go for queen e2, and all right, we can play this endgame. Mainly, the reason why I'm okay playing this endgame is because I'm a little bit higher rated than my opponent. That's for one. And for two, I'm also slightly better in this endgame. Only really white can be preferred here. King f7 looks pretty natural. Okay, I didn't think that that was a great move, but they can also really? Okay, so they want to go for directly for the knight endgame, which I think could be winning for white. It might not be winning, in which case, okay, we get a draw, so be it. My opponent fights, but I'm going to make my opponent fight for this draw because I think here white is clearly better. Okay, that was, I think, bad move by my opponent, so d5. Now, if I go here, they can go here, which is fine because then I can go here. But I kind of don't want them to allow them to get there. Here, check, So let's start with f3, but then I weaken my structure to this, so let's start with h3. h3 is a little bit more solid for the structure. The knight has a nice position on c5 if that is eventually allowed to happen. Right now the knight is being controlled. And yeah, it might seem like this is a boring endgame, but you just have to try to win every endgames. I don't consider myself much of an endgame player, but obviously, I mean, as you get higher in the rating ladder, you have to add everything to your game. You can't just say I'm an attacking player and only play attacking games. Okay, so this position is roughly probably equal. Obviously here only white can be preferred. I have better pawn structure. Okay, let's go here. So they go for that one. And I could go c4. Can't play d4 yet. But c4 seems a little bit bad. I don't think this is even close to being possible for black. So I think the best case scenario here is I push these pawns on the king side, but maybe he has g5 after that, but then I have f4. Yeah, so I'm gonna go for g4. I'm not too worried about something like knight d7, knight c5, because knight c5 and like here, because okay, the second that happens, okay, c5, so they're not threatening c4 for d4 for sure. Now, do they want to go c4? And probably not, and then d4? I doubt it. Okay, so now I could go f3, or I could go f4, just continue to expand, and then do something like this. Bring the knight here. If the knight comes here, it's not really threatening anything. This is still guarded. And we're pushing our majority, while their majority is much harder to push. Now c4 is definitely possible, and now if the knight comes here, it's a weakness, something like this. So maybe I should have considered that. I didn't really, but I guess if c4, knight f3 was my idea, knight here, and then I can go knight here with a double threat of these two forks. So I don't think it's too strong. Knight here could also come like this, which is another idea my opponent might have had. It's a little bit quicker than this, I think. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, no, it's not. But all right, let's see what my opponent does here. We're also needing to probably put some time pressure on my opponent. My opponent goes knight g8, so that probably signals that they want to play for this move. And I don't see a problem with that. I could also go c4 to bait d4, and then after here, I mean, they just have problems with their position. Their majority is kind of useless, but so is mine, actually. So I don't really want to commit to that too early. They might also go knight h6, knight e7, knight c6. Or do they want to go like this? I can't really tell. So let's go knight f3, because they no longer have knight e4, so I don't even have to worry about that. Now here, the idea is I want to go really fast, and I want to just put a lot of pressure on my opponent. So the more pressure I can put, the better. So now my opponent has to think. I could also think about doing this, expanding this way. So knight e7. Now I could go here, and if they go here, maybe they're thinking about this as well. So let's go for... Let's go for here. Now, this is not a threat because I just assume it loses on the spot, right? And they want to go here, I guess. But then I give a check and they have to go back because if they go here, then they lose a pawn. And so they offer the trade. No, check takes f5, king d6 here. King f g5, king e7, king d5, let's say c4. I wanted to get a position where I have a pawn here on b4 and I have a pawn on c3 probably because that's a blockade. But alright, I think maybe we should first give this check because they have to go back here. And then I can go here, for example. And after they push the pawn, I can maybe try to prod at some weaknesses, but I don't really see any clear plan forward. This does not look winning to me. f5. King here. No, king there is too slow here. King f4. d4, and then I can go king e4 if that happens. Takes is just clearly winning for me. So takes f5, king d7, king f4. c6, let's say g5. Yeah, I'm just going to try to win this endgame. It might not be winning, but I think it's much trickier for black than for white to play. Oh, my opponent can go c4 and c5, actually. I just realized. Yeah, that would be dangerous, wouldn't it? But alright, my opponent can't touch my structure because if they ever go after this pawn, I can go here and sort of win the game. So I'm not too worried here. They have to play king d6. It's the only move, so I'm not sure why they're thinking. But I don't think this endgame is winning. I think my opponent has played a solid defense. Very annoying, but unfortunately sometimes your opponent does do that. I could have played b4 actually. Takes, and then try to go this way. Yeah, and they're kind of stuck. Yeah, that might have been something I should have considered. But alright, I didn't consider it. And now we're at the position we are at. So I have to go here. Now if here, I immediately go here, and I think it's just an easy win from there. So that would be nice if my opponent played that, but, you know, obviously my opponent's not going to play that. I expect something like h6, which forces h4. Okay, there. Now let's continue with this. Now the plan is to go up here and like this. And after takes, I take this way, so that I'm always threatening this. Well, maybe I take this way. Hard to say. I could also push all the way up here, get that guy out of the way, and then go here. Takes. But then they get in the square of the pawn, yeah. So, and now I go for this one. I think if they got this here, it would have been dangerous. But now I think it's just winning. Don't really see how my opponent comes back from this one. Oh, are they looking at d3 takes in here? Is that the idea? Because that might... Oh, okay, this is just clearly winning. This is just easily winning. Yeah, okay, so now my opponent's made it easy. I think after d3, king e5, they were definitely drawing there after f6, takes. At least drawing. But now I think it's just a pretty easy win. I have a much more mobile majority here. And, yeah, so I don't have to worry about much here. So I think a3 is just a safe move. Yep, I don't want the pawn to get too far down so that you can possibly create a passer. For example, if I have to push c4, then a3 would not be covered. Now here's seemingly their only move. h6, so now f6 just wins on the spot, right? Because if takes, I take here. If takes, I take here. So f6 just wins on the spot. Yep. And, okay, if takes, I take here and I win. If takes, I take here and I win. So hopefully I win this game. Yeah, so that's just the fact that, oh yeah, so that's game over, and, well, we got a very nice win here against a significantly lower rated opponent, but, alright, so any sort of win is pretty ideal. So let's just have a look at this game, and maybe analyze it with the computer. It was just a sort of endgame Ruy Lopez squeeze after the Schliemann. I don't think I played particularly well. For example, going for the endgame is probably not the best, but practically it was very easy to play for white, and I just had a good time playing that endgame. So yeah, of course, the whole game I was just very slightly better. I never went for some huge advantage. It was even equal at many points, but alright, so be it. If you don't know the opening. So we saw f5, the Schliemann defense. And if you're wondering why, for example, you can't take here, it's because after e4, I guess, not knight f6. Yeah, knight f6 is a little bit ridiculous. But after e4, you have problems with your position because, yeah, this is similar to the Vienna. For example, after e4, knight c3, here, f4, you can't take this way because of e5. And okay, similar position. So f5. Now the second thing a lot of people think is that you can just win the pawn after d takes here and something like knight takes e5. Now this doesn't work to the classic trick of here. And there's some other position you can win a pawn. I'm trying to remember it. This does sacrifice a pawn. Okay, but I played d3. Now d3 is the main line by far, and probably the most easy move to play. Maybe by the engine the best too. Another line you can play is, or sorry, this is the main move, but it's called something I can't say. But after f takes e4, something like this, and either d5 or knight f6, the position is in the balance. But after d takes, this position is considered to be much better for black, but it's really hard, or sorry, for white, but it's hard to prove. The main move I was expecting here is here, castles and either bishop c5 or d6. I mentioned this in the game, I think, but bishop b4 was a really shocking move, and surprisingly, it's not that even bad of a move. So here I played c3. Now, the reason why all the other moves don't really make sense, this obviously makes no sense because we don't want to get our pawns doubled, like double isolated too. Now, this is their bad bishop, so I don't want to play bishop d2 and trade it. The knight on d2 is a little bit passive, so I decided to play c3 to gain a tempo, and after here, I think, yeah, okay, so my plan was, wow, correct. So the best move here is b4, and after bishop b6, a4. But now here I was worried about a5. I just castle, and after takes, c takes, knight takes, oh, I would give up e5. Yeah, I completely forgot about e5. Yeah, so I looked at b4 for like a few seconds, but then I thought it was a little bit ridiculous after a5. Alright, so I play bishop takes c6, which is the best move. So this is a little bit of a ridiculous line. Queen e7. Queen h5, really. g6, knight takes g6, queen e4. This is where I stopped my calculation, but I could go here. Oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense. The bishop's hanging, the rook's hanging, and if they take here, we take here with check. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now if knight f6. Ah, queen takes c5. I did mention this, but I completely mixed this. Okay, wow. Okay, so yeah, bishop f4 blunder, and d6 was winning. I thought after here, takes bishop b7 was my calculation, and then after knight d4 takes here, rook g1, I thought I was getting this pawn. And this is seemingly generally correct. Here I would be up a pawn after this, but they have the bishop pair, so they're equal. So, but where did I go wrong? Oh, I missed bishop a6, king d1, and bishop takes f2. Yeah, I missed that. And here I wouldn't be up a pawn, and they have the bishop pair. So yeah, that would be bad. So I did actually made a huge blunder in the opening. Yeah, so queen h5, very unfortunate not to see. Now, what if queen f6, knight d3 is just good for black? Oh, and here I should castle, and after takes, wow. Yeah, a little bit silly, but they should have played knight f6, am I right? No, I'm wrong, they should have played d6. Oh yeah, knight f6 was second best though. Okay, so here, takes, and this is better for black. And from here I played kind of perfect, but wow, very hard to believe that this is better for black. I would never take black here, obviously, because white just has the improved pawn structure. White is up a move on development. I mean, okay, yeah, bishop h6 immediately is pretty good because this is hard to defend. But knight f6, castles, bishop h6. Here it's equal, and then here I'm better. d5, yeah, you shouldn't commit the pawns so early. You can create weaknesses. d6 may be more solid. h3 is a mistake. f3 is a better move. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But I was worried that if I play king e3, there's some knight g4 ideas. Maybe a little bit of ghosts I was seeing. Alright. This was good, pushing the pawns. f4 is not good. You should play c4. Yeah, I was thinking about c4, but then I thought after d4, it's not really nice to give them this pass pawn. I don't really see how I make progress after something like this. Knight b3, king d6. Ah, okay, and then you keep the king tied down to c5. That makes sense. Okay, f4 is not good. h5? No, c4. Ah, just giving up this. Very unhuman-like, so yeah, I don't think many humans play c4 here. I did consider c4 with the idea to go here and either here, or here. Probably here, because then you can also look at these squares, but... Right, knight g8 is completely ridiculous. Knight f3, knight e7. Knight 85 is so natural. Yeah, f5 I was also considering, but just knight e5 is just begging to be played, and takes here is a mistake. Knight f3 back, and knight f7, king e7, knight g5, h6 here is what I was thinking of, but I just didn't see how I win here. No, I was thinking of knight a5, b3. I didn't want to really commit b3 because I thought then the knight gets to b6, c4 becomes really annoying because then they can break their pawns. But I guess this is fine for white. Knight takes c6 takes here, and f5. So now it's completely equal. To win the game here, I had to go... Nothing wins the game here. b3 is the best move. And this is just a draw. Okay. So f5 is the only move to try to win. You have to try to win here. After c4, really? Wow. King f4, king d6. And black is drawing. Okay. King d6. And c4 is the only drawing move. a5 is a blunder. g5 is again a blunder. h4 here is winning. H4 is not winning now. b3 is winning. Yeah, that makes sense because I saw some problems with if the pawn comes here. g5 and d4 is just a huge blunder, right? Because then I have king e4 and it's an easy win from here and my opponent resigns. Alright, so I generally think that was a pretty good game. I didn't play particularly well here, as we can see. But sometimes if you just go to the end game and you're a little bit higher rated than your opponent, then good things are going to happen. And yeah, that's the end of today's video, guys. If you like this sort of grindy Ruy Lopez endgame and you want some more CM training videos, be sure to leave a like and tell me in the comments what kind of video you want next, because obviously I'm running out of ideas if I'm doing this sort of rapid chess video. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one.